Hi everybody, thanks for being with me today. I'm Stephanie Haney and we have an exciting opportunity to talk with today's Hoda Kotb today, who has just launched season 3 of her podcast, Making Space. Hoda, congratulations on season 3. That's incredible.
I'm pumped up. We've got some great guests, Stephanie. You're going to love this podcast. I promise you'll feel better after you listen to it than you did before. It's like one of those.
That is exactly the vibe that I got from the energy. Now, so for people who aren't familiar, can you explain sort of the concept of the podcast and what people can expect to get from it?
Yeah, there are a lot of podcasts out there, and I know because I love listening to them. This one is really, my guests are generally spiritual leaders and teachers. So people who will lift you up in different ways. Some are motivational speakers. Some are like CeCe Winans, who sings in the church. Some are like Steve Harvey or Shania Twain. People who've been through things, Winona Judd. But I think the goal is, it's like, I feel like I always want something practical to take away. Sometimes you hear someone's story and you go, oh, that's good, but what am I going to do? What can I apply? And I feel like the good thing about this podcast is it gives you things that you can apply in your own life and use. I mean, half the time when I'm listening, I forget I'm doing the podcast. I'm literally like going, and then what? Oh my gosh. And I wish I had a pen just to write it all down.
That is the best kind of podcast to listen to, in my opinion, when you feel like you're really on the inside of a conversation that's just happening, maybe something you would overhear at a restaurant or a bar or something like that. So let me ask you this. How did the idea for this podcast come about for you? Was it a light bulb moment, or is this something that you kind of had in the back of your mind brewing for a while?
I just like this vibe. I am constantly, like when I'm in a funk, I Google like graduation speeches and watch one, because I know that whatever that speech is, it's the best of what someone has to offer. So I'm kind of always seeking out the TED Talk on happiness, the this, that, like that's kind of my vibe. So I wanted this podcast to reflect that, to have those things. But I think to have a takeaway too, like here's an example. So I interviewed Mel Robbins, who's a real good life coach. I mean, she's like no BS. She tells it straight at you. It's almost scary. You're like, oh my God, what do I have to do? But she said, this is important. She said, here's what we all do in the morning when we wake up. Your alarm goes off. You pick up your phone, you're groggy. You have not acclimated yourself to the day. You're still in half Dreamville. Your body's not ready. Your brain's not ready. Nothing's ready to face the world. But what's the first thing you do? Oh my God, what happened overnight? Oh, you're kidding me. Oh my God, they lost. So you've already invited the world to come inside when you haven't even gotten your bearings right. So she just says basically, first decision you make is don't hit snooze, because you don't want your first decision to be procrastination. And then you start your day. You're like, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to get in the shower. I'm going to journal. I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. You do all the things that fill you, and then you let the world in. You decide. You set up a boundary. You don't let everything come at you like, how am I supposed to deal with all this? You don't have to. You just put it over there. Do your thing and then go to it when you're ready.
Oh, I love that message. And I am going to have to take that snooze note into consideration. I'm a big snoozer, but 2023 resolution, right? So you've had all these incredible guests on the podcast. You have so many incredible guests lined up for season 3. I have to ask you, is there a moment that sticks out to you most? Something that's been really impactful and you've kept with you so far from doing the podcast?
There's so many good ones. I got to tell you, I've got Winona Judd and CeCe Winans and all the rest. Steve Harvey said something that struck me, and it felt important. Sometimes you feel like, why aren't good things happening to me? What is it about me? And he said, every single person in this planet is given a chance, an opportunity, and it'll come to you somehow, some way. Sometimes you ignore your chance. Your chance comes and you're like, I'm too busy. I can't. That's too scary. If I try that, what if? So he's saying what you do with your chance is the game. It's not that you're not getting a chance, because it's coming, but your eyes have to be wide open to it. And if you stiff arm it and say, keep back, or I like my world just like this, cozy my way, then that's the way you're going to stay. So he says it's what you do with the chance, not that you never got one. Even if it's a small chance, it might turn into something bigger and bigger down the road.
Okay, that's also a very good take-home message for us. Okay, so one of your first guests you already mentioned for season 3 is Mel Robbins. Is there anything else you can share with us about what to expect from that interview to kick off season 3?
I love her. Oh my God, if you feel like a blob, like most people do, she will like de-blob you, she'll make you want to get up and do things. She talks about when you feel stuck, what do you do? And like they always say, either you're growing or you're dying. You have to change, you have to make change. So if you're stuck in a moment, you're like, I can't get out of this. I feel like I'm on a treadmill and I'm running in circles. She talks about ways that you can unstick yourself. I interviewed a guy for my podcast who said he said to me, every 3 years I reintroduce myself to my wife. He says, I tell her, let's date. Well, I'm going to start dating you again. He said, you know why I do that? He said, because every year we're changing. Every year we're growing. Every year we're a little different. It's like saying, hi, meet the new me. So if you feel stuck, sometimes you realize you've got to grow and change, and whoever you're with has to grow and change with you. I mean, maybe last year you liked Olive Garden, maybe you don't like it anymore. Like, I actually don't like that. You know, he's like, my wife always likes it. You're like, I don't like it. I changed. But it's just letting people know and using your voice. And I think those are some of the big lessons.
Okay, lots of stuff for us to think about, lots of stuff for us to get to know from your guest. Hoda, thank you so much. Can you tell us, when do new episodes drop of Making Space?
Girl, 2 have dropped already. Winona and Mel Robbins have dropped, and we've got Cece Winans who's about to drop. I've got Shania Twain, who has a fascinating life. If you think you know Shania Twain, you don't, because I didn't. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was listening to. But all of these are going to drop periodically as we go. There'll be some fresh ones. We dropped 2 already, and we'll be dropping them once every Monday coming up in the coming weeks.
All right, that's it. Monday for Making Space. Hoda, thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to seeing everything you have coming.
Come on, Stephanie. Bye, girl. Thank you.
Bye.